Hey. Nice. All right, ladies and gentlemen. What is... Oh, man. Why would you do that? That's weird. Ladies and gentlemen. There we go. There it is. All right. Welcome, everyone. Hey, what's up, Michelle? Fancy seeing you here. Thanks for being here. All right. Nope. Let's try this one more time. Oh, nice. Sneaker store. Shot. Oh, nice. Hey, Ambi, what's up? Very cool. Hey, Helen. All right. Sweet, guys. We are going. We are live. How's it going? Hello. Hope you guys are having a good night. Welcome back to the Dr. Greg Show. We are back. We're doing the science show tonight, guys. Thank you for being here. I appreciate the support and love and chat. Thank you for being here. We are off-centered. That's a little weird. Here we go. What do I think about Russia banning the GMOs? I mean, I don't get my science news from Russia. So that's the thing. I mean, Russia, that Europe also bans GMOs, and the problem is that they haven't shown any evidence to show and indicate that genetically modified organisms are inherently bad, and I think that that's the big problem. So the onus is on them in order to show that, you know, changing the genes of something is inherently bad, and I don't think that that's true. So that's what it is. But I haven't seen what they're citing, what they're sourcing in order to do that, and I'm curious what they think is the reasoning for that. But we'll have to see, you know. Did you see that the new DNA mapping that they found just yesterday has something to do with cancer and peptides? I haven't. Maybe were you thinking about the HPV? Sorry, the pancreatic cancer with a mRNA vaccine. Is that what you're talking about? Oh, okay. No repost. This is it. It's a new day. Okay, no, I haven't seen that. Michelle. New DNA discoveries. Cool. No, I haven't. I'm interested though. That'd be cool to see. That would be cool. This is already restricted? The live's already restricted? I'm confused. Oh, interesting. Already? Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. It is what it is, guys. I don't know what to say. It's very weird. It's very weird. We try to please. Okay, good. It looks like Michelle's having a good time, so we'll just have to see, guys. We'll just gotta have to see. But yeah, hope you're having a good time. Hope you're having a good day. It's the TikTok gods are they hate me. So it is what it is at this point. I don't know why, but they just do. So, whoa, camera's not cycling. There it is. So yeah, guys, thank you for being here. Last night we had the evolution debate over on the Mega Bloodbath Debates channel, so that was fun. That was a good time. I thought it went all right. I think the main thing that I'm trying to do, and I thought in general, just trying to reach as many people as possible. I would love to be the science correspondent for a lot of these streams and these channels and talking about science. So I think that's just a cool thing. But I'll let them know. I will let them know right now. If you put me on with someone that is pushing disinformation, that's not going to be good for them. But if they're just asking science questions, I am totally down to answer them. You know what I mean? How do I thought the evolution debate felt great. I mean, it wasn't like a confrontational like battle. It was just a misinformed person, right? So I think that's the biggest thing. What's up, man? What's up, Ghost Reaper? How's it going, man? What do I think about data centers? I think data centers should be a way to fund infrastructure rebuilding in cities. So I think if these huge $1 trillion companies, let me say this more succinctly. I think that data centers, when they are using technology that is transformative, should be paying back into the local governments and the local societies in order to really bolster the community. So I would think that they obviously are getting property taxed. There should be a second tax, I think, on top of that, a data center tax. And with that tax, you can use that to completely rebuild your energy infrastructure. So completely redoing the grid and things like that. I think that would be a really good idea, because they would benefit from that too, right? They would benefit from having a robust energy infrastructure that's already there. I also think that they should fund and they should require renewable energy at these things, right? So that it isn't going to compete with other energy that's being created at these places. So if you tax them in order to create and redo the infrastructure and the grid, it's better for the data center, better for the people. If you force them to go renewable with their energy, it's not going to be a levy and increase the cost of energy for the local people. And I think that in those cases, I think that would be a benefit, right? I think that, like, in general, I did the anti-data center, anti-AI stuff. Thinking about listening to these videos, it sounds awful. It sounds awful next to them. The high screeching noise of these data centers can be heard from a really long mile away. Noise pollution is a thing. They should have some type of sound ordinance. So I think that absolutely has to be thought about. We can't just let these people just take up a bunch of available land, noise pollute our environment by with their gas waste, with their CO2 waste, contributing to climate change. So it's just there's a lot of problems that I think that if we don't regulate this right, then absolutely it could be a big thing. What do you think about data centers being built in parks? Local communities are fighting against it. I mean, built in like national parks, I would be definitely against that. Yeah, I think that we want to create contiguous nature and environments that where things can be harmoniously like living together. We don't want to create a big data center in the center of a natural area. Lake Tahoe has to find a new company for their electricity by next year. Data centers are taking it. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem, right? I mean, and it also goes to show why it's so important for these energy companies to be publicly owned, right? So that you don't have a monopoly of these energy companies that are selling it to these data centers, and then you have no way of actually getting any type of competition in there. I know, Barry, it's crazy. It's 60 square miles, which is insane. You're driving an hour, and then you're going right, and you're driving an hour, and that's the length and the width of the thing. It's crazy. It's crazy big. It's unbelievable. Any thoughts on parallels on GMO becoming more prominent in the 90s and the autism spike? Yeah, they're not connected at all, Big Bizzle. I mean, so you can correlate those data with anything, right? So the rise in autism could be linked to the amount of Google Chrome usage, and that's but that's facetious and that's wrong, right? But so genetically modifying organisms has happened for the last 10,000 years since we've started with farming. It's not new necessarily since the 90s. So noise and light pollution, as well as what Bear's saying, the water. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there has to be regulations, guys. I mean, there just has to be. And the problem is that our politics is slow to adapt, and they're excited about these jobs, right? They're excited and they're out of touch. So it's yet another example of having out of touch politicians that are taking advantage of this new development. And a lot of Republican states don't get money from the Republican Party in order to do any type of economic development. So they see these companies coming in and saying, we're going to spend $100 billion or whatever in order to make this thing a reality. And they're like, this is Yahtzee. This is amazing. So it's kind of like the Republican Party has created this problem by not investing into their states, into their cities. And look where we're at right now because of that. Yeah, they're going to push up the energy bills. I agree if we don't do anything about it. But I think that you could levy. That doesn't necessarily have to increase your electric bill. Hi, Hannah. Hi, Hannah. Charity, your favorite MAGA. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I will say, guys, I mean, as a scientist, right? I am more endured and enamored by new technology than most. I've seen how new technology can improve people's lives, improve scientific resources, scientific breakthroughs. So do I think that AI is a tool for us that we need to use? Absolutely. Do I think that AI is a political tool that we can use in order to have leverage and actually enact political change? Absolutely. Am I using it myself? Absolutely. One of the things that I've been doing for the last 2 or 3 months has really been doing a lot of AI development myself, using a lot of this stuff, creating tools, creating new web apps and workflows. And I it's fun. It just is fun to work with. And I think that that's one of the reasons why it's going to take off so much is that, it's just AI is fun to work with. So I think it's going to be here to stay. I think that anyone that really has to that is so staunchly like no AI. I think that that's a really bad stance because you're kind of up against the future. That's really it's kind of like a bad stance to have. I feel like when there's so much new development happening, what we need to do is we need to take our convictions, take our values, and create legislation and regulations based off of that. We don't need to run from AI. We don't need to be scared of AI. We need the billionaires and these, the Republicans to look at us and say we are scared of them because they have AI at their side, and now they are that much more organized and they are that much more strong, right? I've used AI in order to make scienceandfreedom.com, where we use AI in order to track anti-vax legislation in order to try to stop them from happening. I've used AI in order to try to create our 501c3 that we're going to, file soon. So I've definitely, utilized and leveraged it. So I'd be a hypocrite if I'm coming up here and saying that it's all bad, right? So that's just what that's how I see it. They need to take this time to sort the things out instead of the recklessness. Yeah, Diane, I agree. I think that basic AI regulations that we should all agree on, there should be age restrictions on AI. Absolutely. Like no one under 18 should be able to use AI or these like models, or if they're using AI, not like connecting it to the internet, because then that can be really nefarious. Excuse me. I think saying no AI is unrealistic, but not regulating will be detrimental. Yeah, Barry, exactly. Like we can't unfettered AI just creates a world where the have and the have-nots are even more stark, right? The have and have-nots will be differentiated in the future by capital, by power, and within that framework, power equals also AI, right? So we can't, in a world with you, when you have the power of $1 trillion with Elon Musk, and you have the AI, and you have the latest models on top of that, that's a recipe for disaster. That's really bad. We'll never be able to compete with that, and that's the problem. But didn't this administration take off the safeguards? That was, Michelle, that was for they wanted unfettered. So basically these models are so advanced that they basically, Anthropic and OpenAI, their role is to basically stop the AI from doing things that are reckless. So they talk about a lot, the CEOs, when you listen to their podcasts and stuff, they do a lot of work in order to stop the AI from answering questions like, how do I unalive the most amount of people with the least amount of money? That kind of thing. So it's like that could technically be a question that it helps you answer. And, so they have to safeguard against something like that, and you can see how very easily AI can be used nefariously, with examples like that. So basically the Trump administration said, we want access to that. We want the unsafeguarded models that you guys tried to stop us from having, because we want to ask those questions for war. And which is very scary, right? And that hence why Anthropic's like, well, we don't want you to use our model for that. We don't want you to use it in that way, and I'm not okay with that. And OpenAI basically said, yeah, you can use our stuff. So it's very weird. It's very weird. That's how you get Terminators. I know. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I've found it useful to run arguments with and explanations and informations. Yeah, Fon. Yeah, I think, having your own kind of like having your own workflow and also asking each of the models to do adversarial reviews of the other. I think that that's a really good way to do it. Basically, you're asking like, review this and then now give me the best possible retort, and what do you think is the biggest flaws that you see, and that's a good way of using them. It's useful to ask certain questions that I would feel stupid asking a human. Yeah, fun. Yeah, that's the same way. I'm definitely kind of like talking that way. Yeah, confirming my understanding. Yeah, I do that all the time. Lucas Lyles, how's it going? Evolution is generally considered more accurate in science because it is based on evidence that can be tested, observed, challenged, and updated. Religious beliefs are usually based on faith. Yeah, exactly, Lucas. Yeah. Yeah, evolution is just something that we see that happens in nature that is a fact of life. I mean, there's really no other explanation that we understand for why these genomes and these things change over time. Right? I mean, that's how easy it is to understand. Man, this thing is not having a good time focusing on me. I can go here. Fine, we'll go here. So yeah, I think, evolution it's odd that there is so much consternation about it, considering that chemical bonds evolve, non-living things like viruses evolve. It's just a fact of life, that we observe that happens in nature constantly. So it just is what it is. That's your better side. The best way to make sure it doesn't hallucinate or make sure it's doing the analysis right is to walk it through what it's doing. Yeah, Diane, I agree. I think, also a really good way of talking with AI and using AI is basically asking it what. So, like, for example, like, let's say you're going to try to create a nonprofit. Let's say you're trying to do something like that. So you would want to ask the AI, what makes a good nonprofit? Like, what makes a good nonprofit in 2026? If you were going to found and create a nonprofit today, what would you need to do, and what would be the best course of action? And then it's going to give you, this is what a nonprofit is. This is what the rules and regulations are. This is what it is to create it. And then that's called the reverse prompting. And that answer, then you take that answer and you say, in the next conversation, you say, I'm trying to create my own nonprofit. I want to create a 501c3 with this type of structure, these type of goals for this reason. And then you also give it what you had just done. And what it does is it gives you the format of your answer with the details and context of the previous answer. So it basically goes through and tells you how to make the nonprofit that you wanted in the best way possible with those type of details. If you don't do the reverse prompt, it'll tell you and it'll give you like some information, but it won't be, the best possible way, right? That's the benefit of it. So yeah, it's called a reverse prompt, and it's like one of the best things that you could do. Another thing that you could do is basically asking your AI to interview you. Say, what do you think is based off of what you know about me, what are the things that I could tell you about me that would give you the best information? And that basically allows it to interview you, ask questions about your life, what you do. And then, after you say that and you answer those questions, then you can ask it again. Okay, now based off of what you know about my life, what can you do for me? what can you automate for me and what can you take off my shoulders? That's kind of how you can string together multiple prompts and kind of create, the next generation of assistance for your life. Regression therapy. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about LGBT people? I don't understand what you're talking about. Regression therapy. Hi Ness, how's it going? Yeah, fun. There's some funny stat where it's OpenAI has to spend millions of dollars a month just because people say thank you to it, and it has to respond nicely in order to say something nicely to it. Thanks, Ness. Thank you. And I think how I talk to my AI usually is it's my colleague, it's my coworker, and I'm giving it a task. So in order to really give it the most amount of information possible, I am bringing, this is what I want you to do. This is what the expected outcome is. This is what I want you to complete with this set of data. This is what I'm expecting from you. So you can kind of coach it to have a better response as well. I have to tell it to give briefer, more concise answers. Otherwise I get 10-page explanations. Yeah, Michelle. Yeah, you can tell it to do things like that, give it a more concise answer. But in general, especially ChatGPT is way more verbose. Opus on Anthropic is a lot better on that. It's not going to tell you the same thing 5 different ways. That's the thing that I hate about ChatGPT. It's it tells you something, then it tells you it in a different way in the same. And you're like, bro, you told the same thing to me 5 different ways. This is not. This isn't productive. So I didn't see the thing about your sister. No. Yeah, it goes on and on. My strange sister just unblocked me for the first time after being in AI psychosis. It's been 2+ years. Oh, wow. Interesting, Ambi. I didn't realize that. Hey, Objective Ethics. How's it going? Hello, Dr. Greg. I caught the very end of the debate and the post-debate discussion with Kurt and Austin. Entertaining and informative. Thank you. Thank you, Objective Ethics. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to come at the debate yesterday just with I think if someone's just misinformed about a subject, then I think that we as a scientific community kind of have to do our due diligence and answer questions and stuff like that. I think that at the end of the day, it really isn't actually about answering the questions about evolution, right? I think that that's the biggest problem. The biggest misconception about these debates is that you're going to understand the evolutionary process entirely after the debate, and I'm going to be able to answer any of the questions that you have. And at the end of the day, people have expertise in things because they've been studying them for 20-30 years, and they just understand things at a better level than you do. And I don't think that necessarily coming out with facts and coming out with examples and that kind of thing is always going to be the best course. So I usually try to look at these debates not as I need to get these gotchas in and I need to try to have these bulletproof examples, which exist and they're everywhere. But it's more of a if evolution doesn't work and it's bad and it's so limited and it takes so long, why do we still use it in the lab? Right? Why would, if it's so limited in an awful process, why do we still use it? If it doesn't exist, why don't we just not use it ourselves? Right? Scientists could just lie and say we don't use evolution actually, or we do use evolution and we don't actually in the lab. But the reality is that we do use evolution as biologists all the time, and it's because it's a fact of life. So that's just what it is. Objective ethics. Debates are almost entirely for the benefit of the audience. The interlocutors are rarely open to changing their own minds. Yeah, objective ethics. I think for sure. And that especially comes true in the ones where it's like, if someone's the agent of disinformation themselves, like it really is beholden to the debater to really hold these people accountable for the first time. And that's the problem with people going really nice with like Kent Hovind and people like that, and kind of like trying to befriend people like that, because they're not being held accountable in their lies and their grifts and their conspiracies that they push constantly, right? And then when it comes to actually talking to someone, you're not going to be able to come with like an evolution fact that just makes Ken Hovind go like, oh wow, I've never thought of that before. Wow, maybe I really think that this could be true. That's never going to happen. But what we can talk about is the dangers of anti-science beliefs, how people like conspiratorial thinking have absolutely damaged society, how we can hold these people accountable for, the ways that people are now distrusting science and being harmed from that, right? So we can hold them accountable for that, absolutely, right? So that's kind of my that's kind of my goal in these things. I ran through my health, and as far for a sample letter, it came back with a point that ChatGPT got wrong. Oh, interesting. It's so strange to know someone who was in AI psychosis. She's a shell of a human. Interesting, MB. Huh. Yeah, evolution is the first thing I learned in biology. It's the one thing that connects us all together, really. It makes sense. Are there two sources of comments at the moment, or am I elevated without my knowledge? Yes, Ness, there are. You can watch on YT if you want. Objective ethics. I have a debate Saturday, 5 p.m., 8 Eastern, versus a Christian apologist on the topic of biblical morality. Speaking of damaging society. Oh, man. Yeah, I think that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. I think religion are really tough debates. It's at the end of the day, again, I think it's really about talking about where have people been going with those. What's the second order impacts of these things? And this is what really frustrates me about the style of format, the formal debate structure that I'm not seeing any on my end. What really frustrates me about the debate style right now that you see in kind of the philosophical realm is a lot of like, here's my rock, here's your scissors, here's my paper, and you kind of just go through some type of rock, paper, scissors roulette. And it's like, dude, like, why are we still debating this? Because at the end of the day, someone can just say, nuh-uh. And you're like, okay, but also, can we talk about the second order impacts of like things that we've used? Like, that's why I talk so much about the technologies that we've gotten from evolution, and not just evolution ourselves. Right? Like we understand evolution to the point that we are using it as a tool. It's, a hammer exists, right? A hammer is a tool, and to showcase that hammers exist, one way of showing that is that these are the things that we can build specifically because we have hammers now that we weren't able to build before. These are the unique things that, just with my hand alone or just with the rock, I wouldn't be able to make this specific thing. And, if we can talk about those and we can kind of highlight those, we can show that, okay, I mean, it does exist. Like it's either that or there's something underlying that we don't understand, some mechanism that we don't get, right? And it's like, well, then let me know what that is. If there's some other way, that we can do this, please let me know. I appreciate you telling me that. Thank you guys for the roses and Go Popular. Thank you. Uzamar Minhas 5667. How did DNA replicate in the start if it depends on proteins in itself? That's a great question. That is a really good question. Thank you guys thank you, Michelle. So basically the current hypothesis is RNA. The RNA did it, and RNA can self-replicate, which is really cool. So basically there are biochemistry experiments going on right now to try to find the smallest amount of RNA that is needed in order to make more RNA. And we found that there is a QT45, I think is the one, and it's basically the smallest amount of RNA that we've found that can actually like make more like RNA. So yeah, that's where the research is right now. So the idea is that the nucleotides came together in RNA, and then those RNA, and maybe the nucleotides came from, through Bennu, and what we saw in those papers last year, like there are the beginning building blocks for something like RNA for a nucleotide found on some random asteroid that was just going through, space. And we found the preliminary building blocks for that structure on that random asteroid. So there's honestly a really interesting hypothesis there, kind of like a seeded world hypothesis, where like maybe the Earth got showered with these things, and over time they started accumulating, and then they started replicating. As those RNAs kind of like started replicating, then you have different types of shielding that would happen, right, to keep them more compacted, and that could be like a cell. So there could be some type of enclosure, some type of envelope happening, and then now you have the basis for something that could create DNA, that create evolve proteins and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's the basis that we think. So that's kind of like the biochemistry of how life like probably started on Earth. So I honestly thought the seeded hypothesis was kind of bunk, to be honest with you, until I saw the Bennu stuff, and I was blown away. That was really cool that could happen. But yeah, RNA is really cool because RNA has basically a 3D structure that it can make by the folds itself. It can create folds, and the RNA can have enzymatic activity just like a protein does. But because of the folds and the different types of shapes that it can make, it has cool things. Duxy, how's it going? Thanks for hanging out. So yeah, it's the RNA is a really, really cool thing. And our understanding of RNA has actually just been completely our understanding of RNA has grown in leaps and bounds in the last 20 years. So what we really understood before, 30 or 40 years ago, was like DNA, RNA to proteins, and that's what it was. But now we understand that RNA, there's pieces of RNA that have really complex regulatory mechanisms within the cells. So there's silencing RNAs that will absolutely change the transcription of a piece of RNA or translation. So it'll bind to another piece of RNA and it'll stop the translation into proteins. There's long non-coding RNA that can have like a similar impact. There's tons of different types of RNA, and it's very, very cool. Wow. Thank you, Helen. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for the gifts and stuff. Thank you. It's very nice of you. Lucas Lyles, where can someone find the best scientific sources and peer-reviewed papers supporting evolution? Scholar.google.com. So whenever you're exploring a new subject, the best way to really understand it at a scientific level is a literature review. That would absolutely be the best place to start. But genuinely, if you were just it's someone like genuinely, if you were just brand new to a subject and you really wanted to explore it and really try to learn, Wikipedia, genuinely Wikipedia. Wow. Oh, thank you, Ness. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's so nice of you. Wikipedia is incredible. Wikipedia does such a good job at talking in everyday language, regular language about complex things. And it also has, if you had other additional questions, you can have that blue link right there that you can go on that Wikipedia rabbit hole, like make another tab. So, but that's kind of like for the basic stuff. And then if you really want to go a next level deeper, you would try, like, for example, like abiogenesis, biochemistry literature review, like Origin of Life in scholar.google.com is going to take you to a literature review, and that'll kind of talk about where everything is. And that's the best way. Thank you guys. Thank you, Ness. You guys are so kind. Thank you so much. You're very kind. I was literally typing Wikipedia as you started saying it. Yeah, great minds. Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, also if you're a visual learner, my Discord, it's a GR_G. If you wanted to chat. If you're a visual learner, there are places on YouTube that are good, like for example, Professor Dave Explains. That's a really good resource, and he goes through like the academic kind of like talking about things but the YouTube stuff, it can be tough. It is wild. It is in a day of video and audio. The best way to learn dense information is still the written word. It really is. I've actually talked to my science friends about this. I'm like, is the publication ever going to be redone into a video format? Like, could it ever be done? And I don't think it could. Like, genuinely, I think that, scientific publications will always be written down because you can choose your words so specifically and really create that specific sentence that has your exact meaning on it. And it's so beautiful. Written word is just, it conveys so much and it's so specific. Video can kind of just be hard, and it's a lot. So, there are YouTube sources, right? But if you want to learn scholarly, like an academic, scholar.google.com, look at a literature review, read the title, read the abstract. You should be able to understand the title. Read it 5 times if you need to. The abstract should be written in language that is somewhat less jargon than the paper. Read the abstract multiple times. Reread the title. And then you kind of go from there. If there are the words that you don't understand in that abstract, you can look at Wikipedia, bolster your understanding, and go from there. I think if you don't understand words on the page, okay, the first inclination is like, this is above my pay grade. I don't get it. It's bad. But I would implore you, please keep going. Please push forward, because that's how learning happens. Like you are in a spot that you need to be if you have a couple words that you don't understand. And that's, oh, thank you. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Helen. That's a good thing. Like I firmly believe, like in my science communication, I try to use the jargon, but then also explain what the jargon is at the same time. And I think that in order to raise the level of science discourse and so that we can kind of understand things at a deeper level, we really do need to use these specific words that were created to have this specific meaning, and they're scientific, and that's the reason why they exist. And I think that's a good thing. So reading things that you don't understand, that should happen. That should happen, right? I understand it can be kind of like jarring. I remember my first time in a lab meeting. This is the algae biofuels lab. I'm in there, and we're doing our first lab meeting. And in their style of lab meeting was a grad student would basically present for the first hour, and then the second hour would be like admin stuff. And I'm like sitting there taking notes on all the things that I don't understand, I don't get. And I had my entire page on the right-hand side, just boom, 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 boom. All these different phrases, these terms I didn't understand, everything like that. And, obviously every single time I'm showing up, I'm writing them down, but that list just gets shorter over time. And that's how learning happens. That's what's good about it. Thank you, F1. Thank you, guys. So, yeah, just keep up with it, And if you're interested in something, you're going to keep pushing through that kind of friction. And if you don't, then you don't. I'd listen to yourself. It's okay. It's okay not to do a bunch of evolutionary theory reading. This was actually a big moment for my life when because I was actually an evolution undergrad major. I think it's it's this one. This one's right here. This one's actually my degree in evolution, ecology, behavior, and evolution. But I was curious. I was curious about studying evolution, right? And I was going through and talking to a professor about evolutionary study, what was actually happening, what was going on. I was curious, and I just it was talking to him. It was so frustrating because I didn't understand any of it. One, two, it just didn't interest me. I was really sad about it, and I was like, dang, maybe I'm not an evolutionary biology PhD researcher. Maybe that's just not me. And that kind of, pushed me into other ways of, maybe I could use evolution as a tool instead of studying how evolution works. Do you know what I mean? So there's lots of different ways that you can, if you're interested about a subject, there's lots of different ways of learning and using something, right? In science, there's so many different avenues for learning that you're never just pushed, down and failed entirely. You only got 8 gift options. Ness, at the bottom, did you have the little tabs? Maybe the little tabs, there's exclusive, that kind of stuff. Maybe that's the thing. Vocabulary is a neck of the bottle. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, I think that it can be kind of, it can be kind of tough. Oh, thanks for the reply. This is very important. Nice, Lucas. Yeah. Oh, thank you, F1. Thank you. Do you have to sign a waiver of belief in God? Just go for the biology. I don't think so. Hey, user, how's it going? Man, you guys are all talking. You guys are all talking about the science show. I know. It's been over a week. Then, oh wow, Ness, thank you so much for the galaxy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, guys. You guys are so kind tonight. Thank you. It's I think we haven't done the science show in over a week, so thank you. I appreciate you. Let's see. Objective ethics. Dr. G, I want to invite you to be a guest speaker on my small channel if you're interested. June 14th, 4 p.m. Eastern, if possible. Yeah, for sure, man. I'm down. Thank you, Helen. Thank you. Oh, you guys are so nice. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I just don't know. Let me see if I'm open. Contact me on Discord or yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know if I'm available, but I'll see. If I am, I'll be there. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate you. For sure. Well, thank you guys. Yeah, you guys are awesome. I'm taking your allergy. Oh, nice. Nice, Helen. Dude, Dr. Rubin has his new allergy book out. That was really cool. Dude, Mother's Day trip was awesome. Yeah, it was like a staycation thing in San Diego. Pacific Beach is like a town that's right like south of La Jolla, and it's where my wife and I met. And Pink Nikki, how's it going? And it has like a bay in it, and there's these awesome, basically like tropical hotel resorts in there. And yeah, we met in PB. Yeah, and at the Starbucks drive-through in the center of PB, right off of right on Garnett, on next to Diamond. Yeah. So it was cool. It was really cool. We hadn't been there since we did our baby moon there. So before your baby is born, you usually like have like your last vacation as like a couple, before the baby's born. It's called your baby moon, and we did it there. So that was cute. So my wife like was like, it was like 4 months. She was like at the waddling stage. That's the best, because there's literally relaxin, which is a protein that's released to literally relax your hips. So it's like the last like month of a pregnancy, you just get a little waddle in. She was just like waddling around. but now here we came 9 years later, going back, and with our entire family, and it was really cool. Our 4 kids that just love the pool, they love to swim, so we brought a bunch of floaties, and they just killed the floaty game. It was really, really cool and fun. Sounds so unpleasant. I don't know. I do wish. Okay. Ness, the feeling that I feel watching my wife have to go through that, I wish that I could relieve some of that pressure and get pregnant myself. You know what I mean? As a partner, like, and to have all the kids be born through her body, I'm like, I wish I could relieve some of that burden. You know what I mean? And but alas, I cannot. So but yeah, I do wish that I could have gotten pregnant, and I could have done like 2 of the pregnancies, and she did 2 of the pregnancies. You know what I mean? But I'm trying. We're trying for genetically modified male pregnancies, but it's not working. Yeah, I know. I don't know, NB. I don't know what's happening. It's okay though. I don't get it. It doesn't see. I don't get it why. I'm sure you did because you're lovely, but you can't. I know. Okay, objective ethics. I am doing a show to promote the Ark Encounter protest, so a show on evolution and other global flood issues would be ideal. Whoa, a global flood issues. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, whatever you want to talk about, I'm down. Each pregnancy is different. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Pink Nikki, for real. That's what we found too. It was funny how like the 3rd and the 4th pregnancy, it was like routine at that point. It was very funny. Have you ever read Evolution Cruncher? No, Pi. I've never heard of Evolution Cruncher. I don't know what that is. Yes. Lots of cuddles and care. Exactly. I think the best thing that you can do for a pregnant partner is just asking, things, getting things ready, especially if it's like your first kiddo. There's like a nesting stage that kind of happens when you're pregnant, where they got to make sure everything is all on a line. So there's a lot of like anxiety and stress that women feel when their bodies are changing and things aren't ready. So what you can do is to help alleviate that by taking some of that stress off and helping with the painting, building, packing, cleaning, food making, all that kind of stuff. So that's the best thing that you can do. And I did all of those things. I painted the nursery, which was hilarious considering our kid was only in there for 2 months and then we moved. so like I painted the walls and then we moved. I painted the walls like 3 months before we had the kiddo, and then we moved 2 months afterwards. So it's like, but it is what it is. You know, who cares? It doesn't matter. Yeah, fine, exactly. Listen to the mom to be and show that you understand. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the whole point isn't to say what you should be doing or not. The point is that those are real feelings that person's feeling, and that's your partner, and you have to be as supportive as you can as they're going through these changes and try to help them have or whatever you can. You painted with the big belly. There you go, Michelle. There you go. It's very common to paint the nursery. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I've worn that t-shirt for sure. Do we have to worry about hantavirus? Interesting question. I mean, it is very, it's definitely a concern, right? I don't think that it's zero worrying. I would listen to the WHO. I would listen to those type of like organizations that have better like of a grasp on what's going on versus what's happening in the United States, because the people in the United States were ran by people that thought it was a good idea to do zero stay homes, zero quarantines, no mass vaccinations, and just letting 3 more million. They wanted the 3 more million people to perish in the United States, which is just unfathomable. Like the idea that, Jay Bhattacharya, who is the guy that I'm talking about, he basically wrote the Great Barrington Declaration, and which basically said that we shouldn't do any lockdowns, we shouldn't do vaccines other than the elderly, which would have just, again, epidemiology says that we would have lost about 2 to 3 million more people. So that's unfathomable to say that. I can't imagine advocating a policy that would have that much harm and then not going back and be like, sorry guys, I screwed up on that one. That was totally my bad. But he doesn't, so that's what you should, that's a legitimate worry. The legitimate worry is that the United States is not capable of going through a pandemic. That's the biggest thing. So whether or not hantavirus or something else will happen, we don't know. I do think that it is a little concerning that a couple of them are asymptomatic, but they're still positive, which from my understanding is rare. Hasn't happened other than in rodents. So I think that's a little troubling. The sequencing, Laughter and Light actually had like the best video on this, guys. It was an incredible video, not only just showcasing what the sciences and the literature was, but it also showcased basically as a scientist what your thought process is and what the actual, how to actually go forward and test hypotheses through data. So that was like a really, really cool video that she had. Laughter and Light's probably the best resource in my opinion that I found right now for the hantavirus stuff. So I would definitely recommend checking her out on TikTok. But we need to realize that as climate change changes the environments around us and makes it more hot, basically it increases the region that these things can spread to. So it's a really, really bad sign that we are having, more and more human activity in these areas, having more deforestation, having more bat cave deconstruction, like all these things like coming together conflate and bring about really bad conditions that make things more likely that genomes are going to recombine, new strains are going to be formed, and new breakthrough zoonotic spillover events are going to happen. So that's the frustration, man. It's like, the real, like, for example, the SARS-CoV-2 building blocks were in bat caves in the surrounding areas of Wuhan in China, and we found them. We've done population genetics. We know that they're there. So why are they spreading? Why are they recombining so much, right? Well, it's because China is trying to knock down a lot of these bat caves so that they can, develop it. They can urbanize. So when they knock down the caves, guess what happens? Forced migration, right? Forced migration. And now these viruses are going to go through into these new bat caves. And now these bat caves have new viruses. And now they're going to recombine, and that's going to make new virus variants. So environmental health is tied to human health. They're not separate. We can't eliminate the environment and think that the humans are going to be healthy. And humans do not live above nature. It's not like this thing where human health is something separate than the environment. It's tied to it, and intricately. And we see that with viruses, right? We see it that they come from it. So we have to do a better job of conserving habitat, conserving the environment, and also doing things like rehabilitating animal populations so that they can deal with these types of like mosquitoes and bats and all these rodents and stuff like that. You can have natural ways that you keep these populations down through the environment. It's actually like 7 on YouTube. It's actually kind of a lot. It's awesome. I mean, whatever helps. I mean, whatever you think, Ness. I mean, it is what it is. Like, it's a more active chat on TikTok, but wherever you think, you can like check out both of them and just see, But I mean, in general, Ness, like the live show is on YT after, so if you have to go for whatever reason, you can kind of like pick up where you left off on YT. So yeah, I don't know what's going on either with the numbers on TT. I don't know. It is I don't know. Okay. Thank you, Ness. You've been amazing. I really appreciate you. Thank you, Ness. You're very kind. You're very kind. I just felt comfortable not wearing a mask in groups again. Yeah. I think that like if you are going in public transit, I think that especially if you're immune compromised, if you know someone that is immune compromised, in a public transit area, wearing a mask isn't the worst idea. We still are in a pandemic because of SARS-CoV-2. It's all good. You can definitely wear a mask and there's no shame. On a plane, I would definitely be wearing a mask every time. If I'm on vacation and I'm trying to go somewhere, the worst thing I can do is get sick before I get there, right? So just selfishly, you could just not want to ruin your own vacation and not want to get sick, so wear a mask. That's what I would think. I would not be going on cruises, guys. I would not be going on cruises. Cruises are very bad for the environment. They unload their ballast water, which is really bad for the microbial communities of oceans. I would not be going on cruises personally, but I've had this debate with my parents. That was like the thing that they like to do the last like 5 to 10 years. And that is alas, that is something that they love to do, and it's like, what am I gonna? Yeah, it was nice. Don't thank me. I'm gonna thank you, Ness. How dare you? Thank you, Ness. Thank you. I'm gonna thank you. Okay. I'm gonna be a rebel, and I'm gonna thank you anyway. I'm always in a mask on the tube. It's like a big germ oven. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. There's no shame in wearing a mask, guys. You know what I mean? It's good. You're looking out for one another. It's like it's good. It's you're caring about yourself and others. You know, it's a good thing. Didn't the Wuhan flu come out of the COVID laboratory next to the wet market? No, Pi. That we know for sure that is. I mean, do we ever know anything in science as 100%? No, right? It's going to be 99.9%. But yeah, all the environmental sequencing shows that the blocks came from the bat coronavirus caves, and basically there was a zoonotic spillover event, just like every other flu. And we actually have stall by stall evidence to show where it came from, that it was not just one strain, but two strains that actually came and made the breakthrough that week. So we definitely know all the genetics, all the molecular biology, all the evidence shows that the lab leak never happened. Oh, thank you guys. The bat headwear, that's hilarious. All the genetics and all the molecular biology all show that the lab leak conspiracy is false. There hasn't been a single shred of scientific evidence that actually links it to the lab. So that's just what it is. I wish we lived in more harmony with the world. Yeah, Pink Nikki. I think that I agree with that. I think, you know, in terms of the environment, and in terms of other people, in terms of other countries and other cultures, and I wish people were more accepting of it. You know, like we have to come together. And what I'm trying to say is we have to come together and we have to tolerate the British. Okay. Like we can't. They're living on an island all by themselves. Well, they tried to make it all by themselves, but unfortunately, there are other people that live there. They tried to. Anyway, it's a whole thing. But you know, they're real. It's a real place. Allegedly, I've never been there. They have some food that they eat, that they stole recipes from other places and then they brought them back. And their crown jewels actually are from other places too. I don't know. But anyway, I'm taking the piss. I'm sorry. I'm sure there's some redeeming quality that exists. You know what I'm saying? That we have to tolerate them is what I'm trying to say. Is we have to love our British friends, and so except for Italy, obviously Italy is the crown jewel of Europe, which has all the benefits and none of the negatives. Where everything the birth of the Renaissance and of the beauty of art and music. Yeah, exactly, Ness. Yeah, exactly. Talk about stealing recipes. How's the Taco Tuesday treating you? Yeah, exactly. Hey guys, my top video of all time is calling Europe an overgrown peninsula. So that's what I'm known for officially now on Facebook. That is my #1 video that I've never made. So I'm no longer a scientist. I am an anti-European Trump supporter, apparently. That's what the comments say. Yeah. I've not heard of the Mud Angels. No, I do not know what that is. I hate that video. It's so funny. I was like, it's just the amount of it's just wild to me. The half of the comments are like, I can't believe this guy thinks that there are kings and queens in Europe, and then the other half is like, I can't believe this guy thinks that kings and queens are still kings and queens. And I'm like, well, which one is it? Half of you don't think that there are kings and queens. The other half think that they don't do anything. You guys got to get on the same page, man. Oh, really? I'd not heard about this, Ness. Oh, wow. Obama sent millions to the China lab after there was a leak in the Madison, Wisconsin to work on the virus. It was in the newspaper. Yeah, so Pi, that did not, the virus that they were working on had nothing to do with SARS-CoV-2. We can know the genetics of it and we can look at it. They're completely different. So they just never had anything there that was genetically similar to the SARS-CoV-2. They just the sequences are just too different. They just don't exist. So, and for good reason, Obama did. So the Eco Health Alliance and NIH did send money over there for good reason, because we should be cooperating with China, and China is a valuable resource because of exactly like what we saw with the zoonotic spillover event, right? So SARS-1 was in that area. Science has predictive qualities, and we thought, hey, there might be SARS-CoV-2 in this region. Sure enough, SARS-CoV-2 spillover event in that same area. So the reality of it is that we do need to be working with China. China is a valuable resource in the scientific community, and we should have a stronger relationship with China. We shouldn't be alienating them. Which is kind of like along with what we were talking about before, right? We should be working together more like cross-cultural, as opposed to just this nationalistic nonsense that we have, right now. Oh, interesting. Now, see, I'll have to read about this. Oh my gosh, we have a TWIV enjoyer in chat. Wow, that's incredible. Park Tracker, you are chatter of the night, dude. Amazing. Thank you so much. This week in virology, that is God, Vincent Rockin' Yellow, one of the premier microbiologists in YouTube. An incredible. Well, TWIV is this week in virology. He also has TWIM this week in microbiology. They have TWE this week in evolution. It's really cool. It is really, really cool. They have a great podcast, and yeah, it's an incredible thing. I'll be right back, guys. 1 second. I'm just gonna get some water. 1 second. I need to get some water. I'm getting my throat. We're back. Dude, that was so TWIV. That was such a cool thing, dude. Vincent Rockin' Yellow, incredible science communicator, really good resource, incredible podcast, guys. I'll have to that's a great idea, though. I'll have to look at the he also releases his upper division virology course on YouTube for free every year. So it's an awesome thing that he does. So from what I understand is basically hantaviruses is very, very low. It's like below 1. So basically for every positive case of hantavirus, you have less than 1 person infected. So that's like kind of like the big thing. SARS-CoV-2, the alpha variant at the very beginning, I think it was an R0 of 3. And then on top of that, it was a novel coronavirus. So we didn't have any antibodies for it. So those two things kind of like came together, and that's the reason. Objective ethics. My doctor didn't want to release me to go back to work unless I wear a mask. Okay, interesting. I have an autoimmune disease, so I wear a mask. Yeah, for sure. That's a good idea. I mean, for sure. I mean, we still are in a pandemic, guys, with HIV and in SARS-CoV-2 still. It's not a big deal. I don't know why anti-vaxxers cry about it so much. It's because they want control over, anti-vaxxers want control over other people, which is why they want to selfishly decide for an entire room who is going to be subjected to their will, subjected to their viruses and their spittle. And it's gross. It's insane. And it's selfish of them. That's why. Didn't John Mook Montague find that there was HIV markers attached to COVID? No, that's wrong. So there's pieces of DNA, really, really short pieces of DNA that are similar through a lot of molecular biology. So it's like 5 to 10 base pairs that and it's not like anything that is similar. HIV is a DNA retrovirus. So the idea of it having any similarity to SARS-CoV-2, an RNA virus, it doesn't make any sense, right? That's like saying, doesn't my Toyota Corolla have some similarities with the 2026 F1 cars? It's like, well, I mean, yeah, that there's a steering wheel and there's 4 wheels. But the F1 designers aren't going and saying what's this Toyota Corolla have? You know, I mean, they're not connected at all. So they don't have any actual connection. So it's just, yeah, there were no conspiracies in the pandemic that wound up being true. Every single one was false. Every single one. The lab leak origin conspiracy was wrong. The vaccines causing harm was wrong. The people that lost their lives to vaccines was wrong. The mass unalivings that were going to happen at 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, all wrong. You know, you can just go down the list. Hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, everything was wrong. It's just there was nothing that the scientific community actually didn't get correct during the pandemic. And the problem is that there were so many false stories and conspiracies being pushed by the algorithms that it didn't matter that science was correct. What people believe is the algorithms that are being pushed to them. And that's what's the rest of the problem. Good night, Pink Nikki. Thanks for hanging out. I know, Michelle. Oh my gosh, the magnetic vaccine thing. Remember that? Wasn't that crazy? Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, Ness, the ivermectin has legitimate medical uses. It does. The problem was that basically because of the pandemic, it was hard to get, and those people that actually had a prescription for ivermectin, it was very hard to get. So that actually harmed people specifically. Oh my gosh, Michelle. Dude, that's one that's bro, come on, man. Come on. Come on, man. The people that they just don't care that the reality is what it is, and they just don't care. They just don't care. Yeah, it's sad. It's very sad. It's his magnetic personality. Exactly, guys. I should battle. That's not a bad idea, actually. That's not a bad idea. Let's see here. Let me set it up. I actually don't have it bad. Okay, I'm gonna set that up right now. Dude, the camera, it's like, what is going on? It hates me. Oh no, guys. Awful picture. Who is this guy? I'm just like losing why is it constantly being lost? So weird. Okay, this. Gonna ungroup these TikTok hosts. Here. This. I think it's this. Here we go, guys. I'm gonna set it up so we can. That's a good idea. I don't know what's going on, but maybe this will help. I don't know. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to play it like we're playing it. I also haven't done like this style of like content in a little bit, so maybe that's why. I don't know. It's tough, guys. It's a weird thing. I've been thinking about trying to like stream more, but then like stuff like this where I'm like, would it even matter? You know what I mean? Like, am I really gonna like freaking battle and spend all this time battling if it's like, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's very frustrating. Okay. Whoops. There. Boom. There we go. Got to be in it to win it. Exactly. Is my eyes unfocusing or is your camera? Because it really. I hope it's your camera. It's my camera. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's trying to focus on this. Let me try to fix it real quick. Yeah, I think it's because of the I'll fix it real quick. There's a lot for it to kind of like think about, you know, so it's just being weird. Autofocus. Oh, that's actually kind of good. Okay, I think that's actually spot on. Sweet. All right. Oh my gosh, Ness, have you heard of Carl Pilkington and the Ricky Gervais show stuff? Oh my god, so funny. Like I love the original Ricky Gervais show stuff, the original podcast things. Oh my god, like crying, laughing, like while listening to it. Head like a fucking orange. So good. Okay, let's battle, guys. Let's see how it works. He is British. I didn't realize that. I mean, nobody's perfect, you know. I'm not going to hold it against him, you know. I can't. Nobody's perfect, you know. It is what it is. He's. You walked right into that one. Okay, this. Okay, this. Okay. Yeah, Ricky at the Oscars was really funny. Okay. We'll send it, guys. We'll see. Let's see. Let's see what we can do. We'll see what we can see. Dave, what's up, man? How's it going?
Hello. How are you?
Good, dude. What are you up to?
Wow. Thank you. I'm good.
Nice, dude.
Thank you.
Thanks, dude. Okay. All right, here we go. Sorry. Sometimes it's just hard. These guys are very okay, here we go. Let's do this. Boom. Okay. Can we battle? Yeah, I don't want to battle just some random person that I can't have a conversation with, though. Have fun. Yeah. So that's the thing. Yeah. I mean, dude, it's crazy. I mean, the Ricky Gervais show was like the first podcast in the world. It was actually the first one. Like it's pretty crazy. He's literally one of the pioneers of the podcast idea. Yeah. And the radio show becoming a podcast idea and going on like Apple and stuff. It was really cool. Oh.
What's up?
Okay. All right. The guy had live restricted the live restrictions. So okay. All right. Next one. I did. I saw that you reposted that one. Yeah. Whoa. Hello. How's it going?
Stop being childish, because that's not you.
Hi. I'm a scientist. How's it going?
Good, and you?
Good. Yeah, I'm hosting a science show. Basically, people ask me like science questions. No. Okay, never mind. Yeah, that's the thing, dude. Dion, these like the battles are fun. You meet some awesome people. We've met some like really cool friends. Wait, it says I got an ineligible for recommendation because Ben's show does not comply. But I didn't apply. I didn't. What? Why would I get that? Oh, thank you. Hi, Maria. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello. Hey, how's it going?
Hi. How are you?
Pretty well.
What are you doing? You have like a crazy setup.
Yeah, I have a science show, and basically people ask me like science questions, and I'm a scientist, and we talk about whatever.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you want to battle and talk?
No, I can't battle. I don't have people to battle.
Okay, well I could talk to. It doesn't matter.
Okay, so what's your para gente que le voy a hacer una pregunta. What's your
bueno?
¿Hablas español?
Más o menos. I mean, muy poquito.
Okay. What is your opinion on the hantavirus?
Yeah, I mean it's of concern, but not a pandemic concern yet. So there's a lot of like problems with it, you know, and the fact that how we handled it, I thought was kind of odd. I don't know why they let them just in the United States without like quarantining them. Like, you know, that was very odd. That was weird. Also, like just releasing them into like Europe without any, and the United States without knowing. If 3 people lose their life on a cruise ship, you would think that they would have suspected that something was going on, but they didn't.
Yeah, I saw something that it takes like 8 weeks for it to go. So
yeah, 42 days. Yeah,
Yeah,
the incubation time is very long, and so I think that's a concern. I think the problem is that the United States doesn't have anyone in charge right now that is really capable of dealing with this. That's a bigger problem. The people that were in charge, like basically the people that are in charge now were calling for, you know, less vaccines and no like quarantines and no stay homes and stuff before. So, which is extremely reckless and dangerous, and like more than 2 million more people would have lost their lives in the United States. So it's very weird. Didn't they quarantine them? And so in the United States, they suggested stay home them. They're not like in a hotel or something and they can't leave. So it's very, very odd.
Yeah, don't forget when the president suggested to drown in bleach. Apparently, drown yourself in bleach to get
Inject the bleach. Yeah, you let it get in, and then you put the UV light inside, and then that would like. I know that was wild. That was so wild.
I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's so Jade Bhattacharya is the head of the NHS right now. Sorry, not the NHS, the CDC, and or sorry, the NIH, and basically he wrote this thing called the Great Barrington Declaration, and his whole point was during the when COVID, the vaccine hadn't come out, but it was going to. He basically said that only old people should get vaccinated, and nobody should be like suggested to stay home in the United States. And it's just a wild thing to say. It really is reckless and it's dangerous.
Yeah, I'm literally going on a cruise in like a couple days.
Oh no! Oh no!
And I'm like, I've never been on a cruise before, and I'm going for a friend's 21st birthday. And
oh, that's cool.
well, yeah,
look, I do think at least, I mean, if at least like wear a mask in the airplane. I do think that you should probably mask in the cruise ship, to be honest with you, but that's probably not going to happen. I'd maybe mask like in like the halls and stuff like that. I would be really wary of like going into the eating place where you have so many people. Yeah, it's very.
Oh God, I'm so scared. I don't want to pursue, like, I'm an adult. I need my like social life. I can't go through this again. Like, I'm a young adult. I don't want to go through this again. Like,
yeah, and the problem is that with like basically we are going through and going into nature and ruining nature, right? We're these bat caves in China. One of the reasons why we think that SARS-CoV-2 came about was because they were basically going through and deconstructing all these bat caves, and which is causing all this mass migration to happen with these bats, and then the coronaviruses that are in them are going to be exchanging information, which causes more genomic change, which caused the zoonotic spillover event happen. So it's just the more that humans invade into natural places, that invade into and deconstruct natural places, we're going to see this happen more and more and more and more. And as our weather warms up, it creates more of an environment for them to spread. So it's really bad. See you, Ness. Thanks for coming in. So it's sad.
Yeah, dang, it's crazy. Like, I'm so nervous. I just like hope everything dies down, but it doesn't seem like it.
So the basically scientifically speaking, the virus is not spreading to so many people. So basically SARS-CoV-2 had spread to 3 people for every 1 infected person. And then on top of that, we had it was a novel coronavirus, so that like our bodies hadn't seen anything, so we didn't have any antibodies for it. So those 2 things kind of made the pandemic what it was. But the hantavirus has an R naught, which is that value that I was talking about, less than 1. So basically for every infected person, not even 1 person is infected. So it basically kind of it's kind of like Ebola, if like Ebola has like outbreaks that all the time, and it's actually the mortality rate is really high, 70% or something for Ebola. But the R naught is really small because you have to be really close with people. So you have to be really, really close with someone in order to get Ebola. In the same way with hantavirus, like we hope that the current mutations and the current the current setup stays true, and the sequencing that we just got this week shows that there's some sequence variation, but not enough to actually have a lot of problems with that.
Oh, okay. Somebody said it's like the Last of Us theory. I don't know the Last of Us theory. Do you know that theory?
No, I mean the Last of Us theory is so there's this zombie fungus that infests ants, and one of the things that it does is that it makes it kind of like go up to a really tall leaf, and then it sprouts the mushroom, and then all the spores go everywhere. So it's not infesting our brains and causing us to be zombies or whatever. So that we can definitively say that, which is nice.
Yeah.
Well, this is the kind of dysfunction that you would expect when you have RFK in charge of the Departments of Health and Human Services.
Del antivirus que empezó en Argentina y está siendo para parte del mundo.
Yeah. All good. I mean, the RFK is not a serious human being. Like doesn't have like actual solutions for things, and now we have serious problems that he can't address because he's not actually engaging with any of the problems. Not actually scientifically looking at any of the data, not generating any new data, and it's just sad. Like the CDC used to be something that was like the gold standard for the world, and now can't really even be trusted because it's completely compromised, and everyone that's there that was an actual scientist got fired, basically. So it's very odd.
It's more like a political thing now.
For real, yeah. Every part of the CDC, the NIH, all that kind of stuff has all been gutted. So we've lost in the United States. We've lost about 10,000 PhD scientists from the U.S. government. So it's a lot of people. Yeah, it's since Trump too. Yeah.
Trump too.
Yeah.
Part 2.
What do you think about these new evolutionary biology studies that hint at viruses used to be living organisms but evolved to lose most of their factors? Well, basically, like viruses aren't considered living because they do not have they require other organisms in order to breed, basically. So because of that, therefore, they're not considered living. And viruses are actually really interesting scientifically. They didn't actually all come from the same tree of life that we understand. Through like all eukaryotic organisms, like you and me, plants, dogs, all these kind of things, we all kind of came from these, a lineage of these, these bacteria and into yeast, into all this type of tree of life that we can understand it. Viruses evolved completely separately, and they evolved separately than one another. So we can look at the genomes of viruses, and they actually don't align. So there is no like conserved piece of viral DNA or RNA that is in every single virus, which is crazy because you'd think that viruses would share some of that, but they don't. So it's very interesting. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna get going, but
okay. Well, thank you so much. It was really nice talking to you.
Yeah, I give you a follow.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah.
You talk about the virus, I'll be keeping up.
Okay, sounds good. All right, see ya. Thanks for chatting. Bye. Yeah, that's awesome, guys. That making errors in life, but retain DNA and a genetic code. If those hold strong, that's crazy because it would not only change how we understand viruses, but how we understand evolution itself. Viruses, there's different types of viruses. So are you talking about like just the DNA viruses that would have retained the DNA? There's like different types of RNA viruses. There's single positive and antisense strands. There's double-stranded RNA viruses. There's DNA viruses. They all evolved kind of separately. So I haven't seen anything in the study like that. I'm curious, but I would have to see the paper. So I don't know specifically. No, of course, but the study implies that they used to be evolved to lose those factors, but retain the genome, like individual separate species of living microbial life that evolved to not be alive anymore. Yeah, the closest thing that I've heard about this, or something that's similar to this, is that the nucleus inside of our cells basically might have been a megalovirus that was a DNA virus that basically was engulfed into a prokaryotic cell, which then made the eukaryotic cell. So a megalo DNA virus is a very large DNA virus. Its job is to basically replicate DNA. So it would actually kind of work. And there was actually a paper that found a piece of like ancient DNA viral genome inside of a yeast cell to kind of like make that argument, which is really cool. So that's like this most similar to what I've heard in regards to that. But if there's a specific study that you're thinking about, Maria, I'd love to know. F1 in TT chat. This specific outbreak involves the Andes hantavirus strain. Yeah. Exactly. Known for the person to person. Yeah. So there's like an old world and a new world hantavirus. So the new one is in South America, and the old world was in Europe and Asia. This is actually found in like Korea, the Korean War. Yeah. Because the only other thing that hold DNA besides viruses are living organisms. DNA viruses are the only things that are not alive on our planet. And that has a DNA, which makes them very uniquely bizarre. True. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I know what you're saying. I can see what you mean. Yeah, it is an interesting question, scientifically, what are the, where viruses came from, for sure. I think it's awesome. But the specific one that I haven't heard of. Okay. Let's see here. Boom. Boom. Does this work? Let's see. No, work. Weird. There we go. Found the problem. Yay. I'm a biological anthropologist, PhD in paleoanthropology. So while I do work with DNA and genetics as well, you as a microbiologist would be far more knowledgeable than this, such as matters, hence my curiosity. Okay. Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, Maria, I'd love to. I'm just like, I'm curious, like genetically, basically my hypothesis would then be like, there'd be some remnants of it. So what we see in, like, for example, the mitochondria and the chloroplast, which used to be free living, protobacteria, that kind of thing. We actually see genome minimizing events. So, for example, in algae, which is something that I know more closely for the evolution side of it, like we see the chloroplast genome, which chloroplast used to be a cyanobacteria, and then the cyanobacteria genes that it doesn't need anymore. We basically can see through the genomes of all these green algae that they have different rates and different changes of the minimizing event of the cyanobacteria because they don't need it anymore. So since they don't need to have these free living genes anymore. They basically lose them. And where do they go? Well, they go into the nuclear genome of the plant, which is the algae. So you basically have a minimizing event from the chloroplast to the nuclear, the nucleus. So there's different rates, different changes, different different sizes of chloroplast genome based off of what types of minimizing event there's been. So yeah, my hypothesis would be that different DNA viruses would have different minimizing events, and you'd have some of them still having some remnants of that. Oh, okay. That one was peer reviewed. Okay, Maria. Yeah, I would love. Yeah, we have a Discord. If you wanted to come and like join, and then that'd be the best place to join and to like discuss this. I'd love that'd be really cool. I'd love to discuss with you more about it. Yeah, the incredibly long incubation time of hantavirus is like 45 days, but it also would probably make it a good vaccine target, right? Which is interesting. I thought this virus was only spread from animals to animals. How could it have spread from person to now? So someone was bird watching at a trash dump basically and was exposed to rodents there, and then that rodent gave that person hantavirus, and then that hantavirus they gave it to someone else. Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Fun. Exactly. The hanta was brought onto the ship by a passenger who contracted it on land. Exactly. Exactly. I live for bird watching at a landfall. I know. That's right, man. And what a date it was! And it's actually kind of sad. It was a husband and wife team that were going and bird watching there, and they died. Both of them died. It's very sad. How does a virus even start? What's the origin of it? That's a really good question. I don't know, Dion. That's actually a really interesting question. I don't know because all the viruses they evolved separately. So I genuinely have no idea. That's a really good question. I understand the RNA abiogenesis theory of creation. You know what I mean? But I actually don't know the virus one. I'm actually going to look that up. I'm very curious. I don't know. But I would assume it's similar. But how would the DNA viruses evolve? So I mean, it would have to be some type of piece of kind of like is similar to what Maria's talking about in Twitch chat, is like some type of piece of DNA that they find or something. I don't know. That'd have to be how it is. I don't know. But you would see viral. But if that was the case, you could just take DNA viral genomes and align them with DNA of bacteria or yeast or whatever, and you would be able to find those pieces. Mm-hmm. So they have to be like divergent enough. But yeah, so I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. What's up, guys? Welcome in. Half joke, half serious question. As a biologist, are you team fish are not a real thing, or team every single one of us is a fish? You can't evolve out of a clade. Oh. Oh, that's a great question. Yeah. Man, I don't know. The let's go. I finally thought of a good question. Yeah, Dion, that was a good question. It's hard, Maria. I mean, it's hard talking about evolution in the fact that like we all are like chordata. You know what I mean? We all have that same trait that we have, and we get grouped into smaller and smaller buckets as we go forward. You know, and it's hard to like. But also there's like weird anachronisms that people don't realize, but it's true. Like getting to your point, Maria, like for example, like all birds are dinosaurs, technically. So like that's like which is kind of like your question, right? So, yeah, I mean they're just taxonomically like there's like weird groupings and stuff like that, you know. Would it be possible that a virus is a type of mutation of either RNA or DNA? Not like a mutation. I mean, viruses as obligate parasites. I mean, there would be. I guess you could have like some type of minimizing event. Theoretically, maybe. Where you have accrued mutations to the point where you don't need your stuff, you know, and you use it in order to have something else. I guess theoretically I could think about that. I could see that happening. I don't know. I'm not a virologist, so it's hard for me to understand. I don't know the subject enough in order to make an informed statement on that. But I could see with my naivete and my unformed opinion that's based off of no knowledge, I could see that it would make sense. I mean, all extant amphibians, reptiles, and mammals are tetrapods, and tetrapods are a clade of what is commonly called bony fish. And as we cannot evolve out of a clade, yeah, I mean, definitely, Maria. Yeah, I mean, it's very weird. I mean, especially when you start talking about like genetics and things like that, you know, we share DNA with a lot of different other organisms too, which makes this weird. You know, like humans share 50% of the expressed part of our genomes with bananas, for example. So that like, you know, there's just weird. There's really weird things. Yeah, especially God, what was it? The yeast Aspergillus. Like we have like an insane amount of similar DNA with like an Aspergillus. It's like really very odd. Like you look at an Aspergillus and you're like, there's no way that humans are remotely similar to that. So it is really it's just crazy how similar DNA can be, and yet how different the organisms can be. You know what I mean? That's really wild to me. I don't think so, Dion. Thank you, though. That's nice of you to say. I've just been doing this for like 20 years, man. So that's the difference, you know? Hi, souls. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for Maria in chat, in Twitch chat, Objective Ethics. Thank you guys for hanging out. I'm going to take off. I got some stuff to do tomorrow morning. Got to be productive tomorrow. But thank you for a really fun first science show back in a while. I haven't done the science show in a little bit. So it's been really fun to get back into the groove again. So it's been fun. But yeah. Yeah, I would think exactly, Afan. I would think that viruses had to evolve at the same time as life. That would be my hypothesis. That like because there had to be things that took advantage of those conditions, and like there's just going to be a niche that something can take advantage of. So I would assume that viruses evolved at the same time as life. That would be my hypothesis. Like where and how, like we're not gonna have any skeletal remnants like you're talking about. It would have to be genetic. So it's tough. So from a strictly technical, strictly taxonomical sense, yes, we are fish, but fish is not a taxonomical term. It's a common term, but the common term for Ostrichthes clade is indeed bony fish. We kind of are fish in both a common language use and a taxonomical one. So therefore we are all fish. Okay, here you go. Debunk water pseudoscience. Well, there's no mechanism for water to hold memory. You know, like that's just how easy it is. There's no mechanism how through hydrogen bonding there could be memory formed. You know what I mean? There's just no way. Respect for the planet, respect for the others, and self-respect. That is the key to living a good life. Well said, objective ethics. Thank you. Yeah, Maria, thank you for hanging out. You are the lone Twitch viewer, which is awesome, and I appreciate you there. If you wanted to hang out, there's more people on TikTok and a growing amount of people on YouTube. So, yeah, please join the Discord. I'd love to talk to you with the papers and stuff what you were talking about before, the origin of DNA viruses. I would have to, like, RNA viruses had to evolve before DNA viruses if RNA theory is true. So that would make sense. So how did DNA viruses evolve? Therefore, did they evolve after? They had to evolve after DNA was invented, obviously, or created. So how did they evolve at the same time from DNA that was found? Or was it a Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I love that. Guys, we gotta research this. We gotta read. If you guys join the Discord, we'll go through this. Okay, for sure. You're talking to your water right now. Nice, Efon. There you go. Yes, RNA would be more ancient, which opens up more questions, which only makes it more interesting. I know, Maria. Isn't that cool? I mean, as a PhD, I mean, you have one experiment and you get 10 other ones. You know what I mean? It's like it never stops. That's the cool part about science. It never stops. I love it. What about pH water? What would hydrogen ions have anything to do with memory? How could hydrogen ions store memory? That's all pH is. pH is an inverse logarithmic scale of the amount of hydrogen ions in a substance. So how would, think about it, how would that work? So it just doesn't make any sense. Just doesn't make any sense. It's just made up stuff. Okay, guys. Well, thank you for being here. I love you. Thank you for all the gifts. Thank you, Ness. Ness was amazing. Thank you, Helen, Sarah. Let me see where this is. Helen, thank you so much. Michelle, thank you so much. NB, DN, Eva, Park Tracker. Thank you, guys. Taxonomical arguments is the bread and butter of my field. Oh, cool. Nice. I've seen field PhD scientists in my field almost kill each other over the Denisovan man remains. Oh, really? And the new genomic evidence of it possibly being a new hominid species. Yeah. Nice. Very cool. Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah, Denisovans. So Denisovans there's a cave called Denisova, and Denisovans is the subspecies. I don't know how you're the taxonomist. I don't want to say the wrong word, but I would assume it's the subspecies of Homo sapien that we are belonging to with because like Denisovans, Neanderthals, and Homo sapiens all interbred, and we have the evidence in our genomes, and we found that in that cave, right? So that's how we can understand that there was some type of like interbreeding going on. So yeah, so that humans are a hybrid species, basically. It's very weird. Oh, no way, Maria. Wow. I work with Homo erectus remains primarily. Wow. Dude, that is so cool. Dang. That is very rad. Wow. No way. I've never met a paleontologist before. That is that is really cool. Okay, Maria, drgregshow.com. drgregshow.com has all the information. So, yeah, drgregshow.com. Yeah, come hang out. I would love to talk more about this for sure. So, thank you for hanging out. Wow, that's crazy. You just scrolling to the bottom of Twitch and you found us. So Denisovan man is currently argued to be one of the three. One camp affirms it to be a new hominid species breaking from our line 300,000 years ago. Another claim it's just remains of a Homo erectus, and the third camp claims it's just Homo sapiens. Ah, interesting. Well, then what's the piece of DNA that is attributed to Denisovans? Oh, thank you. Perfect. Yeah, it is. Yeah, fun. That was good. Yeah. Someone in TikTok chat said you should join the Discord and we can pick her bones. Yes. About this. This is a good joke. That's good. It was RNA first coded in protein amino acids, then DNA developed. Yeah, that's kind of I can see. All right, bro, you're awesome. Gotta go to bed. See you, Dion. Thank you, Dion Burks. Appreciate you. Of the first camp, we have enough genomic and bone evidence that it is different species. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, isn't that what's happening in paleontology right now? I mean, that's what I've heard, that like paleontology is being kind of like bifurcated and torn apart by the genetic evidence. Like there's a lot of anthropology, like people, I mean, the example people use is like, we have this pottery from 120,000 years ago that says this thing, and then some geneticist is like, yeah, but we have genetic evidence that this happened 200,000 years ago, 250,000 years ago, and it keeps like growing, right? Like how old we attribute Homo sapiens to be around, just seems to be getting larger and larger. Maurice, I don't know who Sebi is. I don't know who that is. Paleontology is being torn apart by genetic evidence because every day new evidence changes the taxonomy and the entire field needs full constant revision. Which creates a new mess. Okay. Yeah. That's cool. Wow, Maria. Yeah, please hang out. Yeah, that is science. That is really cool. Science does evolve. That's a good point. Exactly. That's a cool field. That is really, really sweet. I love that. Dude, amazing. Dude, the W science. Yes, exactly. All right, Maria. Well, thank you for hanging out. Yeah, drgregshow.com. Join us on TikTok. That's where the primary audience is, where everyone's kind of hanging out. And then YouTube, we're growing. And but thanks for finding us on Twitch. That's amazing. So, all right. I you know what's funny is that you have inspired me to keep streaming to Twitch, because I am like, what's the point? It doesn't seem like there's any type of discoverability, and there isn't any, and there's no algorithm to help. So you know what? For you, Maria, I will forever keep streaming on Twitch. There you go. So there you go. Okay. Well, thanks guys. Appreciate you. Thanks for being here. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay. I might do a daytime stream. We'll see. Maybe Thursdays are good. Like, Thursday and Friday days in the mornings is a good time. I'll ping the Discord, if I do. So, yeah. I know. Yeah. Fun. Yeah. It did happen finally. Yeah, I know it's unfortunate, Maurice. A lot of people are denying germ theory, and they deny that viruses exist and microbes are real and stuff like that. It's just pseudoscience nonsense, and they're hurting people. So, okay, all right, guys, see you. Bye. All right, guys, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Have a good one.